to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Dear Heavenly Father, please help us make wise and prudent decisions for the city that we love. Please help city staff and the governing body make decisions that's best going to serve the community. Please help the community in anything that we need. In your name we pray. Amen. Okay. Item C, approval of the agenda. Are you guys fine with the agenda?
Yep, I make a motion to approve the agenda.
Motion by Brent, second by Michael. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Okay, motion passes. Item D, citizen comments. Anybody from the audience? I think you guys got your own agenda items. So, April, how's everything going with you?
Good.
Good? No complaints? Good.
No complaints.
All right, we'll move on to item E, appointments proclamation.
Honorable governing body, so Goddard Public Library Board is requesting to appoint Kate Morgan. So there's her bio right there.
I spoke with Kate on the phone about 2 weeks ago, and I think she's participates in the library. She's an avid member of the library, right, April? And,
Yes.
Good family. Got a great family, and got several kids. So I spoke with her. And I think she's great to be on the board. What's the process that we got to do to appoint her?
I think it's just kind of a receive and file, if I'm not mistaken.
Okay.
Did you say her term was going till like June?
Yeah, she'll be till June 30th, and then we'll redo
Okay.
it. Yeah.
Yeah, that's just to kind of let you know. And
Actually, the mayor and the council are supposed to actually appoint her, so I don't know.
Yeah, I think we have to make a motion.
I thought.
So yeah, make a motion to approve the appointment.
Okay.
I'll make a motion to approve the appointment.
Motion by Sarah,
Second.
second by Michael. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Okay. Thank you, April. All right, item F, consent agenda. Let's take a look at the accounts payable.
And there's also a third item that, I don't know, do you want to speak a little bit, Micah? Or,
At the pleasure of the governing body, if they want to hear more about easements and dedications and everything else, I'm happy to explain item F.3. I will go ahead and launch into it immediately. No. If so, I can explain a little bit more, but it's just about protecting our assets that we have buried.
That's right where the water line is, isn't it?
Say that again?
Isn't that right where our water line's going?
That's correct. So in the past, we purchased some land from John Dugan, and we had our utility easement. We had a utility line buried there, our service line that comes from our water wells. We pump them. Those water lines run to the west, and they come to Goddard. They service all of our properties. Mr. Dugan sold that land to Paul Kelsing. He's developing it into different lots for residential development. And we found out as they were going through the platting process, we injected ourselves into the platting process because we found out that easement that we purchased was not exclusive to Goddard, so utilities could cohabitate in that easement. We didn't like that because it had potential for them to basically impact our water line. So we took upon ourselves to have it rewritten. We passed it through Morris Lang and our legal counsel to have that easement rewritten. And we conferred with Bachman and Paul Kelsey, and they've accepted it. And so now it's exclusive water line easement just for the city of Goddard, and no other utilities can cohabitate on that that easement.
How much more easement are we gonna need to protect the water line?
In total,
Coming in, yeah. Don't we have
well, that would have to take some review. We would have to look at the complete length of the water line from the wells to our treatment plant and the chlorine building and everything else. We'd have to take a look at that. Right now, this is just for that particular portion that's being.
I thought we had easement to put the line in.
We do, so we have the easement existing right now that has that water service line in there. Right now, we're just getting it rewritten so that no one else can exist inside of that easement. No one else can drop, Kansas Gas can't put a line over there. No utility companies can put a line in there. The way it was originally written, they could. Now, the way we have had it rewritten, they can't. Only we can have our service line on that stretch of orange that you see on the map right there.
It was described as general utility easement as opposed to specific water lines.
So we're
Which
saying
is-
we're not sharing now.
That's right.
It's ours.
So is that something we should have did initially?
I think it's something that as we've grown, we've learned. I mean, this goes back, we utilize the same easement process for decades, so I think it's just something that we learned as this has gone on, that there's a aspect to the law that needs to be specifically identified rather than general utility easements being specifically first-in-time, first-in-right, needs to be legally described. Beyond that, I'll defer to our esteemed city attorney. As I say, I took the Jerry, not the LSAT, so he can answer the semantics of the legal nuances to easement law.
What's the concern?
Well, I'm concerned that the rest of it coming into Goddard could fall in the same situation because we didn't secure that easement just as our easement and nobody else's.
I mean, that's always the risk with public right-of-way. You know, unless we obtain an easement that expressly indicates that it's for the exclusive use of the city, if it's just a public right-of-way easement, it's going to be available for use for all utilities.
We do also lay somewhere, in some places within the railroad right-of-way, we got licensed to lay there as well, I believe, in some areas. So it's kind of a combination of both, I believe.
Well, I just don't know if it's something that we need to secure the rest of it so we don't end up in trouble or not. I don't know.
Well, it's certainly something we need to stay on top of from a planning perspective, keeping an eye on as development occurs. So, you know, if it's a farm field and stays a farm field, you know, it really doesn't become an issue. It only becomes an issue when you get urban scale type development going in over the top and the water line ends up in the back of about, 20 or 30 lots. That's where it really kind of raised a red flag that, hey, we don't want to have to be maintaining it in the backyards, which, I mean, I don't think we can avoid that, but we at least.
We can't avoid them fencing it off, no. But we can, we have the new written agreement basically allows us to protect our chlorine building, which is the purple square on the east side, and that orange hashed line across the map basically says that only we can have our service line in there and nobody else can place any type of utility lines or service lines inside of that 20-foot easement, so.
So what do we need to do? It's just on the consent agenda, it's a standard easement agreement that doesn't impact actual city.
Look for a motion.
Motion to approve the consent agenda.
Motion by Sarah,
Second.
second by Brent. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Okay, motion passes.
Item H1, Lions Club update and request for city financial contribution to annual 4th of July fireworks show.
Which one do I need? This one?
Yeah.
Okay. I'm Eric Matthews with the Goddard Lions Club. Goddard Lions Club's service is more than the collective deeds. It is the wellspring of our heart. As Lions, we serve to see our community inspired, equipped, and transformed. We believe that even the greatest challenges can be overcome by the power of kindness. The history of our history as an organization is a long one and a proud one. For more than 100 years, Lions have served with uncommon kindness, putting the needs of our neighbors, our communities, and our world first. We look back at our storied past with pride, but we know it's only the beginning. Every day we're building on our legacy with the goal of making an even greater impact in the future. The Goddard Lions Club was founded in May 1956. The club was chartered with 44 community members in and around the Goddard community. Currently, our membership stands at 46. The Goddard Lions Club is part of an international organization with 1.4 million members, 47,000 clubs, and in more than 200 countries. What is Lions? Lions is a service organization that strives to empower members to be leaders in our community by working on 5 service goals: hunger, childhood cancer, environment, vision, and diabetes. Since 1956, our community service has been Means Park. We purchased the land was purchased by the Goddard Lions Club and donated to the city of Goddard. Improvements over the years have included playground equipment and trees. The Goddard Lions partnered with the Goddard Women's Club to establish their original library in a building located south of the present library. We built shelving and other needed furniture for the original library. Throughout our history, we have cooperated with the library to build books and needed supplies as requested. Annual purchase of William Allen White books, donation to Goddard Library Foundation, and beautification of grounds. The original baseball fields in Goddard, with financial assistance of the Goddard School District, City, and the Goddard Lions Club, the Lions constructed the original 3 ball fields at what is now Discovery Intermediate School. This was a true example of community, city, and school district working together to achieve a needed asset for the community. Contributions were city $1,000, school $5,000, and Lions $4,000 plus countless hours of labor. We remember our veterans. We've been buying veteran standards and flags for both cemeteries in the area. Vision. We provide vision exams with purchase glasses for those in need of financial help. A conservative estimate puts that cost at about $48,000 since we were chartered. That money is spent in Goddard with our local optometrist. Also with Vision, with the matching grant, the club purchased a spot camera at a cost of $8,000 to screen children and adults for vision irregularities. Since its purchase 6 years ago, it has screened more than 35,000 individuals in local parochial schools, daycares, sports physical clinics, and in our school district. It has a very good track record and is referring about 6% of those screened. At Christmas time, our project that we conduct each year is to deliver fruit baskets to elderly and widows and widowers. We have been serving more than 100 people the past few years. Boy Scouts and Cub Scouts. Since the early 70s, the Goddard Lions Club has sponsored Boy Scout Troop 776, Cub Pack 776, Cub Pack 775, and Boy Scout Troop 1776, which is actually a girls' troop. We have given them financial support of Eagle projects, swim parties, scholarships for camps. We have also supported Girl Scouts on several of their projects, although they do not have charter organizations like the Boy Scouts. Sponsoring band students. Each year, the Goddard Lions Club sends students to the State Lions Band Camp for a week. The cost averages $1,500 to $3,000 each year, depending on if the participating students go with the band to our international convention. Our Parks and Recreation. With the strong support of the City of Goddard, the Lions bought the first park equipment for Linear Park, with the city putting up the structure after Lions paid for it, being powder coated, and became a welcome addition to our community. The Goddard Lions Club bought the first library building by the current library and tore it down to make a way for a new green space. With the cooperation of 2 Boy Scouts who wanted to help as Eagle projects, a pocket park was created. The total cost to our Lions Club was in excess of $5,000. With the cooperation of the city who has maintained it, we hope to deed that to the city in the near future. Under the hunger and needs of the community, Mitten Tree was established in the early 90s to support families in need of help during the holidays. From its humble beginnings of serving 14 families, it grew to 185 families with 475 children served in 2020. Although a signature project of the Goddard Lions Club, it has brought together local churches, schools, as well as the businesses and community groups to make it a success. Last year, it was estimated that more than $90,000 in food and gifts were distributed to our community inside the boundaries of the Goddard School District. Last year, after many families lost their income, we received requests for support of our local food bank run by the Goddard Methodist Church for help. Seeing the need, the Goddard Lions donated $3,200 in food in spring 2020. A second donation of a similar amount has been approved for this spring. Since 2016, with the cooperation of the Goddard Library, we have maintained a depository of durable medical equipment for checkout. Community members can check out equipment for use as long as they need it at no charge. Currently, the equipment is overflowing as more and more people learn about it. With the cooperation of a Girl Scout, we are reinventing the equipment checkout and building a picture catalog. Excess equipment will be donated to a medical assistance group in Wichita. Since the early 90s, the Goddard Lions and the City of Goddard have sponsored a fireworks show at one of the Goddard baseball fields. In addition to the fireworks show, in past years, the Lions Club was financial support from the now defunct Activities Committee, giving out watermelon, ice cream, hot dogs, chips, and water, and provided a live band and pickup softball games during the 4th of July activity. The fireworks show lasts about 20 minutes and is enjoyed by the community. In addition to the projects we have already shown here, we are currently doing mint tree, fruit baskets, Boy Scouts, durable medical equipment, scholarships, band scholarships, library support, senior scholarships at both USD 265 high schools and Goddard garage sales. Current projects that we have done this year, we will be adding an additional $3,000 in food to the local food pantry. We planted $3,000 in trees at the city, forgot to go there, in trees at the city property by the community garden last fall. We have built 3 blessing boxes and dedicated $1,000 to stock food in them. They are located at Pathways Church, Maple Village, and Regency Trailer Parks. And we are going to be adding an additional blessing box at the Academy down by Goddard High School. How do we raise money for all these endeavors of service? Goddard Fall Festival, started by the Goddard Lions Club in 1956 to raise money. In the past 8 years to help grow the festival, the club reached out to other organizations to help build a larger festival. Of course, it was canceled in 2021 because of COVID. Profit varies with the year between from $2,000 to $3,000. And then we usually do a pancake feed in February, but again, due to COVID, it was canceled this last year. And profit varies with the year from $1,000 to $2,000. We do the fireworks stand. We run this more as a service than others. All our labor is free except for some overnight workers. With continuing fee increases, required storm coverage, and other related expenses, we profit between $15,000 to $23,000, depending on if the 4th falls on a weekday or a weekend. And then we do bingo, which we canceled in 2020 to 2021 because of COVID. But when we're doing bingo throughout the year, we'll usually bring in $3,000 to $5,000. The request from the Goddard Lions Club would like to request the funding for the following projects from the City of Goddard. Fireworks held July 2nd at CDS Ball Fields for a show of $5,500. Food and entertainment, $1,500. And the Goddard Veterans Day Community Feast, total cost $2,000. City pay $1,000, Lions pay $1,000. In the fireworks show, Lions would get and pay for all necessary permits and fees, including liability insurance. Lions will secure fireworks, shooter, and setup crew. Lions will prepare and serve all food. We may pay a service youth group to help service. Lions will hire band for entertainment. Lions will clean up after the show. And show will be at the CDS Ball Fields on Friday, July 2nd. Any questions?
Is that about what it has been in past years?
Pretty much, yeah. I know last year we only asked for $5,000, but we only did the fireworks show last year due to COVID. So this year we're asking for a little bit more because we want to go back to what we've done in the past, doing the free food and all the other stuff that we can. Try to build it up.
Well, in years past, the Activities Committee has helped fund that turned that activities committee money over to the chamber. And now some of what the activities committee was funding is no longer being funded, and we're ending up coughing it out of our monies out of our own instead of the activities committee money. And so I think that we need to relook at this, where this activities money was going, and put it back where it was if it can't be handled properly, to where we can fund all these things that we were funding without adding extra. That's my thought. I'm not sure, Brian, how much were we giving the activities committee? 15,000?
16.
16,000? And they were taking care of most all the things that we needed taken care of. And we're giving the chamber 20-some, 28,000, is that right?
The initial membership plus the community events, which we'll talk about next, is bifurcated, they're separate. Yes, sir.
We're paying more and we're getting less, so I'm not happy with that right now. So I would like to see us help the Lions Club fund these things, but I'm not happy with where the money's been going and not helping them when it was supposed to.
Was that one of the events that was supposed to be funded out of the funds going to the chamber?
No, and as I recall, when the original intention of the activities committee was, rather than giving a blank slate, just a blank check, because as you know, we had various folks approaching us not understanding exactly where everything was going and how it was accounted. We said, just come to us and request the individual events that you would like. And then from there, we can have a full accounting of where those distributions are occurring. And then the community events portion was separate from the actual events hosted by the activities committee. So essentially, if the Lions Club were to want to do the Easter egg hunt or other events, they just simply come and say, this is what we would like to do for this event, for this amount. Rather than giving $16,000 and not knowing exactly what it's going for.
But right now, we're giving it to the chamber and we're still not knowing what it's going for,
Well,
right?
nothing's happened because of COVID. So I'm assuming the
I
money's
think-
probably sitting there, but that's a completely separate issue than what the Lions Club is asking us for.
I think, Larry, your question should go to Angie. But this question regarding the Lions Club and your guys' events should be a separate issue. I agree with Larry that we need to know where the funds are going, are being spent. But to be fair to you guys and to the Lions Club, I think that we should do you a good deed and either bring it back down to what you were doing before, which was how much the year prior?
Well,
Last year was just 5,000, but that was just for a fireworks show.
That was just for fireworks.
Fireworks show.
And so we're bringing it up to
Right.
this amount. Okay.
So we can do food band and all that.
What's the
Can you go
amount?
back to the
Yeah.
amount slide?
That's about what it was 2 years ago.
Okay, so we're really not increasing the
So
amount.
7 and 1 is what you're asking for. You're asking for 8 total from the council?
Yeah.
Okay, for the 2 events.
So we're really not increasing the amount. It's the same.
But is
And it's the
it-
money that would have been spent on the activities committee.
Yes, okay.
But my question is, are you gonna need money for the fall festival too then?
That's-
Because the chambers.
Yeah, that's, the chamber's handling that. So we're not, the Lions isn't asking for money for that.
They do
Yeah, that's,
the carnival, but that's out of their own thing.
Right.
They get profits and.
This was specifically because I remember this conversation coming up during the activities committee discussion is, well, are you guys going to continue to do the fireworks show? And you said that was the one event that you wanted to keep.
right.
Right.
And so
Okay.
I'm gonna defend you there, and so I think it's wise for us as a city to do our part and issue the funds for the fireworks show.
I just couldn't remember how they broke up.
Yeah.
I don't have a problem giving them the money for the show, but I mean, I don't wanna pay twice for it. I don't wanna pay them for it and then pay the
Yeah, Yeah.
chamber as well.
Doesn't sound like that's the case
No.
at all.
The Lions Club is the only one doing the fireworks show, so.
Okay,
Okay,
so what are we gonna do? Do I have a motion?
we need to make a motion to approve the
8,000
8,000
Lions
for
Club.
the Lions Club for the fireworks show
And the
Okay.
Goddard
And the Goddard.
Veterans Feast.
in the Goddard Veterans Day Feast.
Yep. Okay, motion by Brent,
Second.
second by Michael. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Okay, motion passes.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Zach, do you want this back?
You can pass it off to her.
It's yours.
Thanks. All right, Mayor and Council, I'm Angie Dunst with the Goddard Chamber of Commerce. Thank you for having me here tonight. I'm going to start, I have two separate presentations for you, so I'm just going to start with the annual update of the Goddard Chamber, so then we can get into community events. So, really quick, the Goddard Chamber of Commerce Board of Directors, Rodney Elliott, Pathway Church is our chairman, Maggie Seiler with First National Bank is our vice chairman, Kim Becker with Meritrust is our treasurer, and April Hernandez with the library is our secretary. Ron Fear is a board member with Postnet, Kelsey Smith with Gateway Mortgage, Brian G. with Goddard Academy, Rachel Lang with Lang Real Estate, and Eric Matthews with the Goddard Lions Club. And, of course, myself. So a little bit about the Goddard Chamber. We are a nonprofit 501c6 organization focused on advocating and supporting small and local businesses. The Chamber provides tools and resources to expand the outreach of local businesses through networking, marketing, social media, and other outlets. Our mission is to empower and equip businesses to build the best community in which to live, work, and succeed. And our vision is to provide innovative leadership in developing a thriving local business community. This past year, actually in December at our board retreat, the board thought it would be a good idea to come up with a slogan for the chamber, because we get asked a lot of times, what does a chamber do? And so a nice and easy way to say what we do is we connect business and community. Some achievements over the past few years here. We have 36 new members since 2019, and that is actually the year that I was hired for the first full-time employee the chamber has ever had. That is me. I am currently the only employee as well. So we are maintaining a 94% current retention rate with a total membership of 89 businesses. In 2020 and 2021 so far, we've had ribbon cuttings for Bling and Things, Mike Walsh Farmers Insurance, Iron Nutrition, Lake Afton Public Observatory, and that was actually a reopening after COVID. And then Interlingual Interpreting Services. And actually, we have one next week with Michael Proctor and his business, so we're excited about that. So
It's leading edge.
yeah, leading edge, sorry. Leading edge financial planning. So we will, in 2020, we hosted the first Goddard Chamber Health Fair in February. That was right before COVID, obviously. We rebranded YPG, which was Young Professionals of Goddard, to LEAD-G in order to better reflect our community and the focus on leadership. We hosted the first LEAD-G Leadership Conference in which we had over 30 attendees, which was great. From there, we actually established the LEAD-G Leadership Series, which is a quarterly series presented by Kansas Leadership Center that is offered to anyone, not just chamber businesses, but anybody that wants to participate at a very low cost. It is only $10 basically for lunch, and then you get the program for free. You can also do it online with your group if you want to do it in your conference room. There's no limit to how many people can participate. And we created the quarterly Community Ladies Night, which gives businesses who serve women a chance to get in front of the community in a fun night out atmosphere. We hosted monthly networking events, including our luncheons, after hours, and coffees. These were obviously affected by COVID, so we canceled events March through June. We did resume meeting regularly in July. So we were able to host 7 lunches, 6 business after hours, and 4 coffees. This year we have not brought back the coffees. And then we will be taking a summer break for business after hours just due to attendance. And I think people are still a little shy getting out and networking. But we've also expanded our social media presence and added 2 options for businesses to get their name out. We do 2-Minute Tuesdays at 2 o'clock on Tuesday, Facebook Live, and Member Minute Mondays. In response to COVID, we were out talking with businesses. I won't say out, we were actually on the phone talking to businesses. trying to figure out what they needed once business opened up after the shutdown. And so we created the Back to Business campaign, where we offered a Goddard Guide, TV advertising, radio advertising, Facebook advertising, and Back to Business boxes. We allow businesses to buy into this for $25, so it's very inexpensive for them. One thing that we are continuing from this is the Goddard Guide. We have printed 1,000 copies. Those are almost all handed out. We're getting ready to do another run of 1,000, and those will be handed out at the Genesis Sports Complex. So anybody that visits will get a Goddard Guide, which is basically a map of businesses to let them kind of know what we have here in Goddard, so they'll spend their money here. We launched a weekly update email, and we expanded the Amazing Race, which doubled participation of both business sponsors and participants. We did a virtual night out, which we'll talk about in the next presentation, as well as a virtual Christmas on Main Street. We also partnered with Sedgwick County government to distribute PPE kits as part of the COVID business recovery effort. More than 100 kits were handed out through the Goddard Chamber, so that's just to our area businesses. We had so many given out that we actually had to get a second round, which was really nice to be able to do that. Excuse me. And we also provided expanded opportunities for member-to-member referrals and recognition, and a monthly donation for Chamber civic organizations. What we have coming up this year is a member orientation. We're going to bring that in so people understand what they get fully with their chamber membership and how we can help them. We're doing a small business event in November. And exciting news, we are partnering with the Genesis Sports Complex and Summer Ball Showdown to help sell advertisements to our local businesses out at the Genesis Sports Complex. So chamber businesses do get a discount on advertisement out there because they really want to work with the local community and make sure that our businesses are represented. And I'm sure you've all heard, but Summer Ball Showdown is a 5-day tournament that's actually coming here to Goddard first week of August. So we are partnering with them, and we are going to be hosting the Chamber Business Night, the opening night of the tournament. And they're opening it up to local businesses to actually offer tickets for free. They can buy into that event, and then they get 500 free tickets to hand out. If you buy tickets at the door, it will be $10, so it encourages people to actually go into the businesses and get those tickets. And hopefully they'll buy stuff when they're there. We have a strategic plan, which I have gone over, but if you are interested in looking at it, it is on our website. We have changed a few of our measurable outcomes for the year because it has changed a little bit because of COVID, but nothing significant. They're pretty much the same. So funding in 2020 for the Goddard Chamber from the City of Goddard, this is just for the chamber itself. The membership is $17,000. That membership level is a chamber trustee, in which you have an ex officio spot on the board, a premier member logo placement on the website, recognition, banner ad, recognition at major annual events, 2-year yearly membership ticket for luncheons, a printed banner at outside events, and up to $2,500 worth of sponsorship opportunities for chamber events, not community events. That's just the chamber events. A little confusing there. So, do you have any questions about the Goddard Chamber? And I'll get into the community events after this, so I think I can probably answer a lot of questions through the presentation there.
I don't necessarily have questions. I think more of the questions line with kind of Larry's questions on the events and everything. That was the big discussion.
Well, I'm happy to go ahead and do that if you like, and then we can talk.
Do you guys have any questions with this, the membership?
No.
Okay.
Okay, so community events. Just a quick overview. We came to the city last year to coordinate 4 community events. With that, we basically said that we would give you professional leadership, accountability for success, which including developing partnerships or sponsors, funding and budgeting clear line items, evaluation of events, structure for engagement, basically creating an open platform for volunteers, concise event planning, coordination of meetings, communication, calendar of events, planning efforts, event registration, event information, one central location, social media, and media coordination. So the 2020 events that we requested were for spring, the Neighbors United, summer, National Night Out, the Christmas on Main Street. Those were in 2020, and then Fall Festival 2021, which is this October. So, breakdown, 2020 Neighbors United. Basically, not good news, postponed. It was postponed until the fall and canceled due to COVID. So the committee began meeting in October of 2019 for last year's event, and we held a kickoff event in January of 2020. That was postponed in April to the fall, and then after the evaluation of businesses and schools and the county restrictions, we were forced to cancel the event altogether. We couldn't have groups of people going to individuals' homes and things like that. So we did bring 3 business sponsors in for 2020 before the event was postponed, and only 1 requested reimbursement. So that money has actually carried over, which I will show you in this breakdown here. So if you look in the first column, you see Neighbors United. In 2020, we brought in $5,740 in sponsorships, the city funds of $6,000. So that income was $11,740. Expenses, the community events reimbursement, basically that was for some PayPal fees just for credit card charges. And then meetings, $214.79. That includes the kickoff event in which food and beverages were purchased for that event. And then a sponsorship reimbursement of $1,000 because since the event was canceled, we did have one business say they'd rather keep it until next year. So basically the expenses were $1,223.35, of which $223.35 of the city funds were used for that event. And the profit, basically the money that is still sitting in the account for Neighbors United for this year, is $10,516.65. Okay. So 2021 Neighbors United is planned for April 21st, 2021. We are very excited that we get to bring this event back to the community. I know there's been a lot of questions online about the Community Dump Day, and I believe Thatcher has arranged and working with Public Works to arrange for dumpsters and different things that we're going to be doing. So a little bit different this year. Groups can register their project on the chamber website. They can apply for a grant. That's what the money will be going towards this year, is 100% community projects, in which we're asking them to apply for a grant, and the committee will approve those actually this week. Each group is responsible for finding their own project. There will not be any pre-large gathering, just because we're still not quite in that capacity yet. One person from each group will pick up a packet and t-shirt from the chamber office just to kind of maintain safety concerns. And basically projects can be done anytime. They do not have to be done on Neighbors United Day but to qualify, but we are asking them to go ahead and register them so we can get them a t-shirt and things so they can feel like they're taking part in the day. And then we'll obviously be displaying photos and stuff on our website. National Night Out 2020 was supposed to be an in-person event on August 7th. It was changed to a virtual backyard party. That way we could help people maintain the social gathering restrictions. We just asked that they don't have large parties, that they keep to the standards. The committee began planning that in February 2020. Obviously due to county restrictions, it was prevented for the in-person event. We did deliver more than 50 business party bags to homes. I actually went door to door myself and delivered bags in the Goddard area. Those included a Make It Home S'mores kit donated by Walmart. So that was all done by donation. More than 3,000 people joined or viewed the virtual concert from their homes. That was actually done by donation by the 99 and Pathway Church. So some great community support there. And we also want to make sure we highlight the Goddard Police Department because they had a huge part in that and planning. So we are going to begin planning the event for this year, which tentatively is set for August 6th, which is a Friday night. It says planning will begin March 18th. That did not happen due to spring break and because I personally was ill and didn't want to worry anybody. So looking at the funding for National Night Out last year, we brought in $648 in sponsorships. That was low because we were not able to have the event, so not many people wanted to give money. And then city funds were $6,000, so that was $6,648.82. We did take a half of the administrative cost because we did an online event, so that's $750 that went to the chamber for admin fees, including staff time and then our website and the different things that were promised in the proposal. $23.01, again, that is for PayPal fees, just credit card fees that were charged. Marketing, $341.95. Food and drinks, that food and drinks was bought for the band because they did volunteer their time. And then prizes, $195 were given out in gift cards. We asked people at their backyard parties to take photos and post those online, so we had the sense of some kind of interaction with the community. And then miscellaneous, $120. So our year-to-date expenses for that event was $1,549.96. Of that, $1,449.96 of the city funds were used. So that account is sitting at $5,098.86. Christmas on Main Street. Again, our in-person event was changed to virtual. We did a virtual Christmas tree lighting and 4-story time with Santas. The committee began meeting in April of 2020. County restrictions again prevented the in-person event. The Christmas tree lighting and story time on December 5th had 1,400 views on Facebook. And our story time with Santa on December 8th, 15th, and 22nd had 1,490 views. The Goddard Public Library put together our take-home gingerbread kits, so we had over 100 of those given out, in which people actually came into the library. A lot of those delivered letters to Santa in the mailbox that was actually built and donated by the Goddard Lions Club. And I also want to say we did give out 5 business baskets, so businesses got involved in that as well and donated baskets that we gave out for people answering questions on Facebook and kind of participating for that live event. Planning will begin for next year, which will be held in December 2021. If you look at the skip one, the festival and then Christmas on Main Street there, $6,000 in city funds. There were no sponsorships for this, but there were in-kind sponsorships, like I mentioned. So, and I might mention that the National Night Out, when I say sponsorships, that does not count the in-kind donations by Walmart, Pathway, and the 99 on that one. So going back to Christmas on Main Street, there's $6,000 of city funds. Administrative cost was taken out. Half was $750. Entertainment was $200. That paid for Santa and some of the other supplies. And the supplies were $175.33. So the expenses were $1,125.33. Of that, that was all through city funds. So it's sitting in that account right now is $4,874.67. There were no reserve use, so that reserve account there is $6,000. For the 2021 festival, we have began planning. We have a great committee. We are very excited about this. We are inviting anybody in the community that wants to be part of planning to join us. We do have another meeting coming up. This says March 16th. That's because I was originally supposed to present last month. So that is actually April 13th, our next meeting. That will be at the chamber office. We have elected a new chairman. This year it will be Ron Fear with PostNet, and his co-chairman is Rodney Elliott with Pathway. Funds from the former Fall Festival account held by the Goddard Lions Club have been combined with the Goddard Chamber Community Events account, and I will show you, I'll actually go back one here. So that account right now with the Fall Festival from the Lions Club is $1,356.38. $6,000 from the city, so that account currently is at $7,356.38. We will start releasing sponsorship information, and vendor information is live, so we should see that account start growing here and getting ready for the festival. We are in talks with some really cool additions to the festival. In addition to the Goddard Lions Club is working with the carnival, and we have been talking with the school district for adding some other events as well. So stay tuned on that. We should have some exciting news coming up. The event cancellation policy, I just wanted to put this in so I can kind of explain that administrative fee. The event financial allocations that were from the city of Goddard, basically what we have said is if the event is canceled more than 2 weeks before the event, the chamber will not assess any administrative fees. However, deposits made to vendors may or may not be refunded depending on the vendor. That's like staging and things like that. If it is canceled between 1 week to 2, it'll assess 25% of designated fees. Between 1 week and the day prior, it will be 50%, and then if it is canceled the day prior or the day of the event, it will be assessed 75%. Funds remaining for the event after a cancellation remain in the community events account, as you saw, as I just explained, and will be used for the same event the following year. Designated administrative fees will not be deducted from the community event until the day following or closest business day of such event. The administrative fee that we put in our proposal last year was $1,500 per event. And again, that covers administrative costs as well as website and some of the different things that we provide. So last year, the funding request was for $30,000, which was $6,000 per event and $6,000 in reserve. This year, because we have all of the money from last year and it was not spent, we are only requesting the minor amount that was spent for those two events, National Night Out and Christmas on Main Street. So for National Night Out, $1,449.96, and Christmas on Main Street, $1,125.33 for a total request of $2,575.29. So, I'm happy to answer any questions.
Well, when this whole thing started out, it was my understanding that when the activities committee was going and doing all these things, there was a lot of confusion as to who was going to do what, and that we needed to have one party in charge of it all, sort of delegating who gets to do what. Like if the Lions Club wants to do the fall festival, then they would have to be in charge of the fall festival. And somebody from the chamber was going to sort of delegate, those type of responsibilities. And if they needed money, the monies would come out of what used to be activities committee money, which wasn't taxpayer money, it was money got from permits from all the tents that we have in town. So we were using that money to help our community have enjoyable things that all the people could enjoy and without it coming out of their tax revenue. Now I have no idea what is being spent on these things as far as each event. I mean, we had 15 grand and we were paying for all these things and no problem, and now we're spending 6 grand for each event and it's still not enough. And that to me is frustrating as hell, quite frankly.
Well, I apologize if there was any miscommunication. The proposal that we brought before the council last year was laid out for just the 4 events for the chamber, and that was at $6,000 for each event and $6,000 in reserve. What the chamber has said is that we will get sponsorships to match that amount of money, and the end goal, in all honesty, is that these events become self-sufficient. So we have asked for $30,000 last year. This year we are only asking for $2,500, and going forward we hope that these events will make enough money where we won't have to ask for money at all. So I hope that that helps relieve a little bit of your concern. I'm not sure where the confusion came in.
Supposedly had the chamber delegating all these different events as far as responsibility, who's going to do what.
That was not in the proposal that we made to the council.
Yeah, I mean, she did everything she could last year, and she's only asking for what little was spent.
I think
don't-
But we still don't have any leadership as far as how
Yeah.
the events are taken off and
I think
whose
there's-
responsibility.
I think there's truth on both sides here. I think that Larry's right that we had an intention for this money. I think the real concern that I have with the administrative costs is I think one of our main functions in funding the chamber was to have a more organized platform to where we could host events and organize it, right? And then to mainly attract more businesses. That is the chamber's function, is to bring more commerce into our community. Now, if we were to spend $2,500, what's the dollar amount, Sarah?
25,758.
If we were to spend that money, then we are not funding events, but we are funding administration with the chamber. And I think that's where the problem really lies, is we shouldn't be funding the administration, we want to be funding the events. That was the whole intention of dissolving the activities committee, right, Larry? And having a more organized platform to where we can do that. But if we keep funding the administrative fees, that cost truly needs to be shared with the rest of the members, not just us. I think that's one of the big problems I see, but.
It was already in her proposal for 1,500 per event, and she held online events.
But those events weren't actually used for attracting more commerce, it doesn't seem like.
It brought attention to the chamber, branding and advertising.
We built
for the
in-
chamber.
I think
We built an opportunity for businesses to participate. And like I said, in National Night Out, we handed out over 50 bags where businesses gave us items so we could take them out to their homes because people were actually able to come to the park and visit them directly. And then with Christmas on Main Street, there was not much we could do, but we did ask businesses to donate baskets so they could have a little bit of interaction.
She worked her butt off where she could. I don't
I
understand why the
met
gripe
her.
is over $1,500.
I mentioned the Christmas tree line. I think you're doing a great job. But I think there is concern on the monies and where the events are going to be spent. But they're not asking for the full
Well, I mean,
30 grand.
if we're gonna give the chamber $15,000 to run the chamber, 15,000, great, then use that money for the chamber. But if we got $15,000 for activities, that money needs to stay in activities and run those activities, period, and nothing else.
She
Nothing else
just gave
comes
a full
out.
accounting that the money's still there, except for the nominal expense for what she could do last year.
And with the administrative cost, please understand that part of that pays for time for staff because I am a paid staff member. With that time, I am using chamber time to go out and talk with businesses to bring in more sponsorship money. And so if you see the sponsorship money for Neighbors United, I mean, it's almost as much as we asked for. So we are bringing in sponsorship and other money in, and the goal is then that these events will be self-sufficient.
And I think in a normal year, as we're coming out of COVID, I think in a normal year,
Yes.
that those will become self-sufficient and they will cover any administrative costs, et cetera, that are associated with the chamber's time and effort, because we have said to them, we want you to manage this, we want you to take care of all of this. And they did, especially with what we were all given last year. So, I mean, I don't think, not even $2,600 for doing the things that they did do, which were great given the climate we were in. I don't think that's absurd to be asking for.
I think you did a great job, and I don't know where the gripe comes from, but I think the criticism is unfair.
Thank you.
So,
As part of that administrative cost, please understand you also have access to my entire board and my finance committee, which I have 3 bankers on my finance committee that looks over this budget to make sure that every dollar is accounted for. You're paying for an a paid person to oversee events as part of my job. So unfortunately, that's not something that we can just give away for free.
How much, if I can ask, how much money is coming in through membership dues? How much money are you receiving on a yearly basis?
I don't have those numbers directly in front of me, but I can definitely get those to you. But we are a nonprofit, we're a 501c6. Every dollar that we bring in pays for basically my salary, which I can disclose to you on a private basis if you'd like. It pays for basically our office and expenses, and then every other dollar that comes in goes right back out to the community and to chamber businesses.
Well, my biggest gripe was is that we were funding everything for $15,000, and then last year we didn't have any money for fireworks help. Well, that was in the monies that we gave to the activities committee. That was built into that we would give them X amount of dollars.
We did increase, Larry, I remember, we increased the funding to the chamber for administration, for that function. The Lions Club, like I mentioned before, they specifically asked to keep the fireworks presentation, or the fireworks show separate. And so I do remember that.
But the activities committee gave them $2,500 every year.
That was for the food, I believe.
Yeah. Right. I think they haven't spent any of the money towards the events themselves, because you haven't hosted any events. The money that you've spent.
We had 2 virtual events, which did take a lot of time and planning.
The money that you've spent was on administration, website stuff like
In
that.
food and packets and s'mores
Yeah.
and gift cards
Okay.
and.
Yeah. So, I understand the frustration on both sides, but I think this next year, it will get better. Because this was in a COVID year.
And the fireworks thing is a separate entity
Yeah.
from the community events.
Right.
It was, we said, these are the community events we want the chamber to take care of, and we would like the Lions Club to continue with the fireworks because that's their thing. That's what they've always done. So they were 2 separate things, and the funding was completely separate.
Okay, so the request is for $2,500. What do we need to do? Do we need to make a motion to approve?
I need a motion.
I motion to approve it.
Okay, motion by Michael,
Second?
second by Sarah. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Okay, motion passes.
Thank you very much.
Item H3, 2021 Goddard PD fleet purchase consideration.
All right. I have pictures. This is
There's
lighthearted. Micah, if you could be my water boy.
Okay. I think that's well within my job description.
Yes. All right, so every year we are trying to replace and keep our fleet with the police department at a very respectable level. This is going to be the 2021 fleet purchase presentation annually, and for this budget, the fleet purchase is for $110,000. We have 2 vehicles that we want to get rid of. The 2014 Chevy Tahoe number 24 is reaching its life end. One specific thing about it is its air conditioning is kind of on the fritz. It may or may not work to keep both the officer and prisoner cool. And we also want to repurpose what we have, a Chevy Impala, for city use. So it is still got some life in it, but just for our use, I think it would be better served with the city. Currently approved staffing is at 14. The fleet is at 13 vehicles. We do have an opening right now that we are looking to fill, so there's where that difference in one person is. So removal of the 24 number 29 would be fulfilled back with the purchase of 2 vehicles. And our upcoming goal for the years coming would be to increase the fleet budget line to allow for the replacement of 3 vehicles per budget year. So we were asked by the city administrator to do a cost-benefit analysis to include the purchasing of the Ford Hybrid V6, which is the PI Pursuit Interceptor. It's the Ford Explorer for the cops. The miles per gallon data that we got from Reno County, the Sheriff's Department, they actually run those. They've only been running them since they just got their vehicles last year. So it was over a 90-day period, and we used their mileage, or their stats to basically input into our mileage comparison for one Goddard officer and estimated the cost savings compared to the standard V6. Here are the numbers we kind of put out in the analysis we did. You can kind of read for yourself. That right there, that $2 a gallon is, I guess you could say, a joke anymore. The $3 a gallon is a little bit more realistic. I will agree that over 5 years, we would save some money. Part of this analysis was we actually went and, as you saw, we talked to Reno County, the Sheriff's Office. I talked to the City of Derby. They have not received them yet, but they are going to be receiving them pretty soon. They had done their analysis and they were going to try out, I think, for their fleet of 18 or 19, 20 vehicles, I think they were going to try out 2. Reno County has a handful of them, and they were very happy with them. We went and met with some deputies in Reno County and actually drove one of their hybrid vehicles. I was impressed with nothing appears different at all except for the fact that it actually does run on batteries for a certain period of time, which in a sense is provides you a quiet little situation when you're going through neighborhoods or less fuel spent idling in certain situations. It performed, as far as functions and performance, it was exactly on par, if not maybe just a smidge better. The only issue we would run into if we decide to go with hybrids is because at the beginning, towards the end of last year, knowing we had two vehicles, knowing we'd already experienced a wait of, 4 months, 5 months last year waiting to try to get the two vehicles that we got.
Because production shut down.
Production had shut down because of COVID. So luckily, just because of injuries, COVID, and injuries, COVID, sickness, and just staffing, we didn't have an issue with being doubled up in cars or anything like that. So we lucked out there. So what I did was ahead of time ordered, when our upfitter was ordering vehicles, he keeps them in stock. So I wanted some Explorers to have. I said, pencil down 2 for us. So we actually got 2 in when he got a whole order, a fleet of vehicles, and we reserved 2. So technically right now we have 2 right now with our name on it.
Standard V6.
There we go. So here's also the analysis of, to replace those 2 vehicles, the one would be the Sergeant vehicle, and the other one would be an administrative vehicle to replace the Impala, which is unmarked. It was an administrative detective / just administrative vehicle for our use. There is the cost of the regular pursuit interceptors at $33,700. Upfitting would be a little less than what we would be putting into the Sergeant vehicle because we wouldn't include things like the cage, a radar, push bumper. Those things wouldn't need to be on an administrative-driven vehicle, okay, as well as decals. On the other side, for the Sergeant vehicle we'll be replacing, it would be the same price, same vehicle. Like I said, we had 2 sitting down there. A hybrid would be about $3,600 more in cost upfront. So there would be that upfront cost. However, after maybe 5 years, it would pay off. But they would potentially be anywhere from 90 days out if we ordered those tomorrow to an unknown period of time because of information I learned from our upfitter today. Apparently there is a chip, some kind of computer chip that all vehicles, not just police cars, are lacking right now because they're lacking in production. I think Dodge has shut down at least 6 of their plants because they're running out of this specific part that I think COVID played a part in, obviously, with places being shut down and the huge need for laptops. Yes, sir.
These cars that you're buying are coming out of that, like city pool, right?
It's already approved budget. It's a budget line item.
No, it's not that. It's so you're ordering them from like
a dealership.
No, you're talking about the state bid?
Yeah, the state
we
bid.
We get the state bidding, but we do everything through an upfitter that buys the cars for us. So we basically have a one-stop shop. We're not buying the car from a dealer, taking it to an upfitter. Our upfitter's big enough that he buys the cars for us, so we basically do everything through him.
Okay.
He's still getting the state bid pricing
Yeah.
on everything.
And he's not
That's
making a
how-
profit
That's how
off the
much those
actual
cars have gone up in
car.
the last few years.
Oh, okay.
He's just making it more convenient to sell his equipment like that. So you can see the little increased price for the Sergeant vehicle, which would have the cage, the push bumper, the radar, installation, things like that. That would be an increased price with that. You're not actually paying for a new radar. I've already secured some used ones from KDOT. And then to strip that vehicle, it is more, just because the Impala doesn't have hardly any equipment on there to strip, and you're taking out an old cage, things like that. So that's why the increased cost is there. Decals, $377 for the decals. At the bottom there, I just put the difference so you're aware and you can make your decision on what you want to do. To paint that vehicle it would be, to paint it black and white, to put the doors white, that's gonna be an additional $1,400 and some change per vehicle, just to paint it white. So the first vehicle, here's basically just a written out analysis of what we were going to do to replace this vehicle. The other Sergeant vehicle is all black with subdued reflective graphics. I'll have a picture up here in just a little bit. Those are just for the supervisor cars. Hybrid vehicle, there's the cost for that. That's an increase of like $3,600. Basically, it's just written out explanation of the last slide there. We could do that. The reflective would have to be white still. That's my only stipulation. So I took a picture of the current vehicle that we have out there for the sergeant, one sergeant to drive. As you can see, it is gold subdued graphics. It illuminates very bright. At night, it's on the front with the number, and on the back, Goddard Police. So that way you can kind of see exactly what that looks like. The second vehicle, which would be replacing that Impala, could be used for administration. Upfitted, there's the cost at $49,600. We would be reusing and taking the radio out of $29,000 as well as the laptop mount, putting that in there. Low cost to strip it out. Like I said, there's no graphics, cage, radar installation, and that overall cost is $49,836. So the black and white, I also want to include this in there so you guys could discuss what you preferred. Currently, we have 2 officer patrol cars that are all black. And I think that's actually 3. We have 3 officer patrol cars that are all black, number 30, 38, and 39. And 2 supervisor cars that are subdued with reflective. The other vehicles are all black and white, or the black with the new white graphics on it. There's, again, the cost. And another thing you might think of is just maybe the potential of decreased sale for the end of life when we go to sell it. And if we want to put it back to the black, that's an additional probably $1,400, and then potentially the change in color. So there is the prototype graphics of what we could have had. This is what we currently have on the right. Again, it's white decals, and it's all white reflective at night. And there is a list of all current fleet with information as far as the 24 and 29. Those are the vehicles that we will want to replace, and it has the current mileage, pretty much most current there. So again, there's 13 vehicles, and I didn't list in there the Chevy Tahoe for the ACO use. But that is for our use. It's got a cages on both sides for transportation of animals. Yes, sir.
What's vehicle number 23 then?
That is 23. The 23 is the ACO vehicle.
Okay.
Yeah. It was an old police car that we were able to repurpose and
Had cages donated.
paint it white. We got a donated cage from the Newton Police Department for dogs.
Oh.
Cleaned it all up, and it makes dog transport a lot cleaner and easier on our patrol cars. So, here's the ancillary items. The financials have approved. The purchase would go towards that 8210 PD fleet admin that's already been approved. There's our recommendation, just spelling out just the purchase of one fully outfitted PI Explorer and the one administrative outfitted Ford Explorer, like I said, without the cage, bumper, and some other equipment.
Is that total for the hybrid or for the?
That is total for not hybrid. Like I said, if you add the hybrid in there, that would add $3,700. And
With a longer
potentially,
wait time.
extend us out into when we could get those cars. Having said that, I definitely want to pin in getting hybrids for next year. I liked them. I liked driving them.
We need to get something for the one without AC though, right?
That's one.
Yeah, that would be that 24 replacing that with 42.
Okay.
Yeah.
And I like the black and white in that it's visible, but I was coming for a run when they had someone stopped at 4 in the morning, 4:30, and there was the black and white, and then there was the black with the graphics, and the black with the graphics was clearly more visible at night, but the black and white during the day was more visible than the black one, than the black vehicle, and so it was just, but it shocked me how the visual graphics on the all dark vehicle stood out at night.
Yeah, and that was just kind of a choice we decided because it would be a cost savings, and the resale of the vehicle could be affected, and that was really the main reason why.
We changed graphics companies last year too. We found another one that was another local company that the materials they're using are a much higher quality graphics than what we were getting before. They caught some pretty interesting things like the
quality.
The wording on some logos was actually misspelled on the state logo, and nobody had even caught that. So they've really cleaned up the graphics. They use a lot better materials that are higher end. So we're seeing a better product out of them as well.
When you're reselling them, you have to remove those graphics anyway. Is it the same price to remove them as it is to repaint the doors?
No, those come off pretty easily as opposed to repainting a door. When we go to resell stuff, if it goes on auction, we have a better chance of selling something that's not a black and white vehicle. It's going to sell, but we're going to get less money because we're either going to have to paint it all black again, or they're going to buy it black and white at a reduced cost. The graphics are just, they're decals. They come off like stickers.
Well, Larry, I almost agree with you. I like the black and white because I like the fact that it stands out more. Now, one thing I don't think we need to do is, I don't think we need to paint the roofs white. I don't think that's necessary. But the doors,
Yeah.
I've been for some time now, just because I think it brings a more hometown feel. I think it is more recognizable during the day. I think it's still well recognizable during at night. And I know that our community, I think, appreciates black and white. It's very recognizable, I think, during the day.
A lot of the public opinion is that they're trying to sneak something by a solid car.
Well, and I don't think the public is gonna think that that's really being sneaky with the white, bold, very, very bold graphics. I mean, you can look at the city of Wichita. I'm not trying to put any view on them, but this is much more distinguishable with the brightness and the quality of the graphic and the color differentiation than the city of Wichita police cars.
Which is great.
Yeah, which is kind of gray. And then we have this vehicle and two others that would need to be painted, the $1,400 per vehicle. So that'd be 3 vehicles, and then the additional 4th vehicle to purchase that would need to be white and black if you would want that. Or we can stick with the supervisors. 3, actually it would be 3 total, sorry.
Can't you put one of those in close to retirement, use that for administrative, and then get 2 regular patrol cars, so you've got something?
Well, you're still gonna have the issue of pulling, it would have an old cage.
We did it to one of them a couple years ago. We did it to one of them a couple years ago.
It's gonna look like a police car rather than being an administrative vehicle. It really wouldn't function well for administrative use. Plus, the officers are it's already set up with a camera system that we'd have to pull out and install in another vehicle. It's already set up with a radar that we'd have to pull out and install. It would be very costly, and it would be logistically very tiresome to do that.
You gotta bake it on and give it.
Michael, where are you at?
It sounds like, as far as visibility at night goes, the higher quality graphics really help with that. Plus, yeah, I mean, the white stands out.
Like the white doors do not reflect at night.
Well,
It's just the
white
black graphics.
The
And
white
on,
graphic on the.
yeah, and the black graphic on the white door at night only reflects gold. It's not gonna reflect white.
Yeah. I mean, I'm fine with that, where it's not necessarily trying to, doesn't seem like it's trying to blend in too much, so,
And on the back, it says Goddard Police.
yeah. I'm fine with the graphics solution. Brent does bring up an interesting point on wrapping the doors instead of painting them.
We tried that,
That's,
and it's not a good option.
Did they bake it?
it,
Huh?
Did they bake it on? I mean, my guy says.
Oh, they baked
you have
right
to
off.
you have to bake it on for it to
Yeah.
hear right. And then we have the, another film put over the top of our graphics so they don't discolor.
Yeah.
so
I mean,
on,
our bands are running.
on the wraps, I've
All day
now
long,
been
too.
with two agencies that tried the wraps and they were both epic fails.
And we had
They
wrap
just don't,
here.
they ding, they.
They peel off.
Peel, I mean, these
I guess
aren't,
you guys are going off-roading, so.
they're just, they weren't cost effective at all.
Okay.
And they don't look good after a wrap, after
When
after
they chase you
6
across
months.
the fields.
But I,
You know,
I like.
oh, that's right, that Cadillac won't go over there. Across the field.
I went through your field.
That's what I did.
So like I said, we aren't trying to like pull one over or anything like that. We just kind of made a little bit of a cost savings initiative with the black, all black, so we didn't have to paint that, and put the white decals on there for high visibility. But if, for officer patrol cars, if that's what you want, white doors, black lettering, just let us know.
Well,
I prefer the white doors, but that's.
Can we do it on the newer ones? I mean, if we're changing it, right?
the new.
Do we have to do the whole fleet?
Well, the two,
No, we have two that we,
like currently,
they're
they're-
currently have the far right side.
Oh,
Everything else is.
we actually have three vehicles
Most
that
of
are
our-
all black that we would have to paint white at $1,400 per car.
Most
Vehicle
of our
30,
fleet-
38, and
The new
39.
one that
Huh?
we did.
Most of our.
38's
fleet's
running.
black and white right
Sitting out back.
now. So do we, I guess, the question is, it sounds like two are going for the one on the right, and then two are going for the one on the left. So,
And,
Yeah.
oh, the other thing I didn't think about is that
So you-
just painting those doors white, that's gonna be $1,400, and then it would be another, probably, the most graphic cost comes out of the side graphics, so it'd probably be about $200 additional to change out the graphics, because obviously we couldn't put the black graphics on the black car.
okay, so what's my first motion, the one on the right or the one on the left?
Well, I'm just talking about the ones they're ordering right now, the new cars.
Yeah.
yeah. the new
One,
ones, that's what
one
I'm
would be,
talking about.
one
Let's
would
just
be
do the new
black,
ones.
one would be black for administrative, and the other one would be black as a sergeant vehicle.
Right.
So those, the new ones wouldn't necessarily be an issue. It's just, I incorporated this in since we're talking about patrol cars, and I could put the photos in there so you could decide on the 3 other vehicles if you wanted to spend that extra money from somewhere.
Well, I'm just talking, the other ones are already done. I'm just talking about the new ones that we're ordering now.
Well, what he's saying is these are both supervisor cars, so they're gonna be black, they're not gonna be,
Wait,
They're not-
why are
they would not be black, Mike, they're not.
supervisor vehicles?
The two sergeants have cars with the subdued
Subdued,
graphics.
like the subdued graphics, just like,
But they're
That.
already subdued right now.
just on 2 sergeant vehicles.
One of the sergeant cars is 24, will be going away. This would replace one of those two sergeant's cars. That's the one that doesn't have the air conditioner in it. That Tahoe needs to go away.
Okay. I agree with the supervisor vehicles shouldn't be black and white. I think they should be subdued because you guys do go different places. And you might not want to stand out as much. My vote's gonna be the patrol cars. They do, I would like them to be black and white, so you know my vote.
but neither of these are patrol cars, right?
Correct.
Right.
Well, but it sounds like we're shifting things through the.
But it'll be something I take into consideration
Patrol.
for next year. And we would have
We're gonna need to
to
get
spend
the
that money
money paid
to
to repaint
change
those
those
two.
other cars.
Okay, well, let's do something.
So we need a motion to approve the 103,544.99 to
Yep.
purchase
Yes.
the two vehicles.
Yes.
I
You
made
just
that
made a
motion.
Second.
Okay, oh, well, all right, motion by
This has
Sarah,
nothing to do
second
with
by,
colors.
yeah, motion by
Now,
Sarah,
now to the other issue.
second
Now we're gonna
by
let them
Brent,
finish.
all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Okay, motion passes.
So now, is there,
We just want to know what you want in
Was
the
there a
officer patrol
consensus
cars.
from the bench as to the color for the patrol vehicles?
so not these two we just bought?
No,
Correct.
it doesn't
Actual-
affect those two.
okay.
It affects
So
two
next
that we
year when
currently
we go
have
To
and
Develop
future.
the
Yes.
2022 budget, we'll know that, okay, the black and whites will be.
So we have to make a motion for that?
No,
No.
you can just say
Asking for
consensus
Okay.
change.
We're just going to write it down on my
We
notebook.
would like black and white cars.
Okay.
For standard
For
patrol,
patrol.
I think
And you-
it's neighborhood friendly.
Okay, and so you want the other cars that are just black like
To be the sergeant car.
No. we-
That
we
car,
have
so you want,
we
so you want
currently-
that car stripped of the decals with
And
the
white
white
painted.
doors with black
Yes.
decals put on it? Okay,
Yes,
okay.
black and white, other than U2 cars.
And then we have the sergeant vehicles. Like
That's
that.
the sergeant cars.
The detective,
No,
His would be a completely black car. It'll look
Yeah.
just like a car.
it would, yeah. It's essentially what he
So
was
we have two
driving.
sergeant vehicles,
Correct.
Two
and
sergeant.
that's one, we're buying a sergeant vehicle.
Correct.
Yep.
We're good to go there.
okay. This is a long discussion that, right, all right. Well, we want black and white. I think that's the consensus.
Yeah.
The sergeant vehicles, we want your guys' cars black.
Yep.
That's what we want.
Okay.
Your guys' cars black and subdued, the rest of the cars.
Our cars have no marking on them at all. There is no
Okay.
subdued
The
anything.
rest of the cars black and white.
So, other than the 3 administrative vehicles, you want the entire other fleet, including the sergeants.
That's a sergeant's car right there.
Black with the,
Yes,
with
is
the
that-
reflective.
Is that what we're coming to, black and white?
You have black and white for the patrol cars.
For patrol cars.
You have 2 supervisor cars that look like that.
Yes.
Yes.
And the administrative cars are completely unmarked cars.
There we go, perfect.
The rest.
Got it. Duly noted.
All right,
Thank you.
next item.
There you go.
Thank you.
This, by the way,
By the time we get out of
was
here.
a quicker discussion than the last time we had that. If you remember, Councilman Zimmerman, it was a 40-minute discussion the last time over black and white versus black. And that was like 8 to 10 years ago.
Why?
So
I should feel
we made
better.
progress.
Okay.
Honorable governing body. So I worked with this project on Brooke. He's not here tonight, but if he may have the answer to some of these questions, so I'll take note of those and pass those along if it's something he can answer. So for a while now, governing body members and community members alike have expressed concern with kind of the general lack of seating in the splash pad area, along with the playground area, and then with the addition of the new equipment, that added that problem even further. You'll see last season, especially during COVID when that area was super busy, citizens were dragging the picnic tables that are meant for the pavilion area all the way over to the splash pad and to the playground area to sit in, just because there was that much of a lack of seating out there. I believe under the splash pad area, there's 2 tables on each side, 2 of those outdoor picnic style tables. So as a result, staff is hoping to increase the seating in the area before summer 2021. And then the preliminary goal is, based on the budget, is to return later this summer, early fall or next spring, to add more shade structures around those seating areas, which I'll talk a little bit about later. So the last project we completed out there was obviously the new playground equipment in 2019, which encompassed pour-in-place surfacing on both the new playground equipment and the existing playground equipment. And then last year in 2020, we connected the sidewalks all around that area and added a concrete padded area for multiple picnic tables similar to what we have in the splash pad next to the new playground equipment. Staff was able to complete this project internally under our budget, what we're allotted for. And then city staff is recommending an option to maintain the style of bench which was installed in 2019 along the entrances to the Prairie Sunset Trail and along the 183rd Street pathway, which I will show you is right here. It's kind of a simple design, but they're easy to install, they're easy to maintain, and if they're ever damaged or worn, they're easy to replace in fairly common style.
Is that some type of epoxy coating on it, or what is it?
Yeah, it's a dipped plastic is what it is, and then I believe the railings on the side are powder coated. Literally an identical bench to if you go to that 183rd Street sidewalk pathway and the entrance to the trail there on 183rd Street, you can see an example of one of those benches. And then on the east side of 183rd, past Kellogg, they're kind of the same style of benches, but in a darker color. So there is a limited budget kind of in the CIP this year for 2021. So we were seeking a cost-effective option which can increase seating in the short term, meaning this season, and be improved upon in the near future. So after completion of this project, city staff is hoping to seek out bids and options for shade structures to go over some of these in the future. In the meantime, this will help staff determine kind of what these benches we do install, if we do install them, what receive natural shading and those that will definitely need shade structures. So staff believes about 12 benches are necessary to fulfill the seating needs at both playground sites and the splash pad. Our public works crew can install these benches pretty easily, but we do need concrete pads for those to sit on, and then they need to be big enough that the benches aren't encroaching into the sidewalk, and that can affect ADA compliance. And it appears some of my slides got deleted or moved around. So anyways, this is kind of a rough sketch of what we're looking at. So this is the new playground equipment, that proposed seating area for picnic tables in the future. And then we're proposing 5 benches on the new playground equipment. And then if you move over to the existing older playground equipment, we're proposing 5 benches on that area. And then we're proposing 2 benches, one on each side on the front of the splash pad, which already has quite a bit of seating with the tables in there.
That much seating, are we gonna need extra trash receptacles and stuff at each one?
That's something we could certainly look into.
Yeah, we anticipated that.
And that's something I think we can do internally without having to come back to the council and do those as needed. And then so looking into the future, we're in the process of bidding out a larger shaded seating area for that new playground equipment area, for the picnic table area. And this company is the exact same company as the one, and the exact same brand that's installed with the triangle sails at the splash park. So that color doesn't match it right now, but we could certainly get the same color. And then they also have fairly affordable option for cantilever shades, which are 10 by 10 or 12 by 12 would be the approximate size we'd need for the benches. And we could add those as needed, probably not to all of the benches, but certainly to some of them in the near future or down the road whenever we have the budget for the project. And then staff has estimated about a 5-foot deep by 10-foot wide pad would be best to accommodate each bench site. Since the current sidewalk is a little bit curved, every pad site may be a little bit different size. It's important that the pads have rounded edges and go with the flow of the current sidewalks. So it was kind of a rough estimate, that 5 by 10, and they won't be rectangular pad sites. They'll be more shaped to the current outlay of the project. But we did overestimate a little bit, around $7 to $8 per square foot framed and finished, but we expect it could be a little bit less. And Brooke is the one that is in touch with a lot of the concrete companies and kind of has a better pulse on the market there. But we're estimating $400 each, or a total of $4,800 for 12 bench sites. And then the benches are $10,053.30 each, or a total of $12,639.66. For a total cost of $17,439.66. So I'll take any questions or comments.
So those pads, so the cantilever,
Yes, sir.
what's it say with the cantilever, like concrete specs? You like doing 6-inch on those pads in, or, because you know that breathe some strength up
Yeah, I-
there in the wind.
What we would probably do is that cantilever would most likely hang over the back end of the bench, and we would pour maybe a new or deeper pad site for it separately. So we would come back and pour more concrete to install those. These aren't 100% necessarily what we're doing. This is just an example. I know there's some with a straight line up and down that would maybe go directly behind the bench.
I was just thinking if we poured the concrete now, then we don't have to worry about it later, but.
Nah, you're gonna have to do a post hole. Yeah, you're gonna, I did, yeah, no, there's too much force to just let it be flat.
We'll certainly do the research, and if we can sturdy the
I poured a 6-inch from my palm tree.
if we can sturdy the pads up a little bit to accommodate these, we'll certainly find out. But there's some pretty specific specifications, so just preliminary on these, we would assume we'd have to put these in the ground and pour a little concrete to go around them.
Well, I think Councilmember Proctor brought this one up, so this is good. This will kind of finish off that linear park area. So, do we have any more questions? Hopefully, we can all agree on something tonight. That'd be nice.
I would like to motion to approve as to form.
Motion by Michael,
Second.
second by Sarah. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Okay, motion passes. That was lovely.
All right, thank you.
Honorable Mayor and Council, we've added a resolution in support of the House substitute for Senate Bill 124, the use of the same in conjunction with development projects within the state of Kansas. Essentially, this is a support of a STAR bond legislation that's passed in the legislature, but we wanted to go on the record as there's been some, I think some commentary that perhaps we were not fully supportive of the legislation. So essentially, the resolution reiterates our history with the STAR bond and its use, our amendment to the STAR bond for a second phase, and acknowledging and appreciating the beneficial role that STAR bond financing has played in the development of the project plan and proposed phase 2 for the benefit of our community. And that it states that the governing body fully supports the act and the passage, that the governing body supports the development of the project plan and proposed phase 2 for here in Goddard, that the governing body fully supports the use of the act, and not just here but across the state, and that you're authorizing me to forward that to the Secretary of Commerce if approved.
This is just
Don't jump out of planes.
pretty much a hoorah letter saying that we support STAR bonds because the bill was sunsetting this year pretty much, right?
Yes, sir.
Nothing really, but it's just going through a motion. So do we have to do a motion? on
Yeah,
this?
it would be
Aye.
that motion with the voice vote.
Oh, yeah, I was gonna motion to give the authority to pass the letter along.
Motion by Michael. Or did you have a question?
No.
No.
Second.
Second by Sarah. All, voice vote.
Yes.
Or,
So it's all.
Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
aye.
Okay. All right.
That's weird.
Yeah, I dumped some slides in the wrong place.
That's what we get for dropping
keep
it in
going.
5 minutes before.
There you go.
The administrator's report. STAR bond just showing the progress from the exterior, looking back to the southwest, and then a little closer look from the southwest. This is March 1st and April 1st. A little closer
See
look.
materials there, but they don't see any hotels on it.
Well, you can notice that they've started the pad and the foundation footings for the hotel with, here's the pull through. Thank you, carport.
Plumbing zone.
So, Arbor Creek, just showing the progress of the houses from March 11th on the right, April 1st on the left, showing that 34 out of the 59 lots in Phase 1 have sold. Cloverleaf has March 1st on the left with progress of April 1st, I'm sorry, on the right. Again, showing that 50 lots in Phase 1 are currently sold, with Phase 2 lots beginning soon. Elk Ridge, just looking back at the progress, the left is March 1st. April 1st is the photo on the right. And showing that there are 10 lots remaining for sale in Elk Ridge. Rusty Creek, you'll notice that there's the view from March 26th, and there's now construction for the sewer line that was approved and will be coming to you for bid award for the additional improvements here within the next 1 to 2 meetings. The R-Cut, just letting you know, this is still underway. We have a call tomorrow for update on this, and then also for the 183rd application at that time, which we'll also discuss with the R-Cut, the connectability for the Goddard Galleria into that Starbond district, so folks don't, when they're visiting here, will not have to get out on the frontage road or out onto Kellogg via the R-Cut to only exit back around off of 183rd. So we're talking to the state about the connectability for that. Progress on the Brahms, you can see it's making significant progress from the March 11th to the April 1st view. And then the Tanganyika barn underway in the CID district. And then also would like to ask if you could look at saving the date for a special joint meeting with the Planning Commission, either before or at the time of their event, depending on how their May calendar looks. But we would tentatively like to see if May 10th would work to conduct a joint workshop between the governing body and the Planning Commission. If that date doesn't work, we can try a second date or move to June sometime. But by bearing in mind that in June, July, we're in budget season, so we'll probably be having special meetings anyway. But the purpose of this, again, is to just kind of get clarification and discussion to refine our land use and zoning code policies so we can further define the development characteristics of the community. And then an update on our 2021 GO bond issuance, which is our utility debt refinance we anticipate going to sell on Wednesday. Now, the last 2 times we've had like literally 1 year's move in 1 day, or almost a decade or 15 years worth of movement in 1 day, both times that we've gone to market. So it's just been freakish. And then of course, the market at that point kind of wants things to settle down before they look at going. So we'll be bringing that forward with a final ordinance after that's been done to just affirm it. And that was authorized with the ordinance 865 on March 1st. And then of course the solicitation and process for sale was back on February 1st with ordinance 865 and resolution 2111. We'll have the pool opening, and Thatcher's been working with Natalie, who I think is probably in her last year. She's about to finish grad school and move on, and
So we'll be cultivating the assistant manager pool for growth and development to step up into that role as we move on. Did you have anything to add on the pool opening for the date on the 22nd?
No, we're just hoping to get open by that day. We think we'll have enough returning guards, but for the younger guards, a lot of them are in track or softball or whatever, so we'll have sports essentially until June 1st, but we think we can run with a light crew at least for that, starting that Saturday and then that next week of May.
When are they planning to turn on the splash pad?
We were just talking about that this week, and we're hopeful that it'll be in like the second or third week of April.
Nice.
So like here within the next week or two. But we wanted to make sure that we had everything ready to go. The focus right now has been on the pool, but also that we were absolutely unequivocally through any of the freezing weather, which we should be, but we had that recent dip down over the last couple of days overnight. So we're hopeful that that's past us now and we can begin that process. And then Shakespeare in the Park, that will be Friday the 16th and Saturday the 7th at 7 p.m. It's with the Goddard High School Theater. They'll do 2 nights here. And that's Bottom, who was in the course of the play given an ass or a donkey's head. And that would be Puck, that rascal Puck, who is the kind of the sprite that causes all the mischief with all the lovelorn cast of characters in the play. So that'll be here on Friday, April 16th and Saturday, April 17th. And then upcoming notable agenda items for April and May, with a lot of these being tentative down here. We'll also provide a follow-up with the community center follow-up discussion, as well as we have a call scheduled for planning and coordination this week to move forward and begin engagement after that call with the park board at that time.
Good. Good.
My turn.
Yeah. All right.
Did everybody comment?
I think Chief would like to say something.
So, I know this is not big.
I didn't
surprise.
get
You shouldn't be scared. So 31 years ago this month, I started my law enforcement career. And tack on another 2 years of fire service, which I don't tell a whole lot of people about.
A lot of sleeping.
That was a lot more, yeah, I slept a lot better.
Even
then.
cops need to do this.
Yeah, right there behind the second responders. And I've done a lot of soul searching the last 6 months, and this has been an incredible 4-year journey. But July 1st, I'm going to retire from law enforcement. My wife's been a saint for this long period of time and put up with an awful lot, and it's time. With Lance's help and an incredibly great department. And I'll save some of the other comments for maybe my last meeting where I can get a little bit more philosophical. But it's a good time. I mean, the department's in a good place. Incredible staff. A lot has been accomplished in this time here. It seemed like this last almost 4 years is the fastest out of my 31 years. I mean, I was sitting here looking across the table at Larry going, this guy's going to kill me. I don't know what, on my interview, I'm like, he hasn't cracked a smile or moved a muscle or whatever, and that was 4 years.
That was my first impression.
Yeah, that was almost 4 years ago, and it's gone by really fast, but I think the department's in a really good place. It's got great leadership, and I'm going to spend the next 3 months trying to help transition, get Lance set up for a smooth transition in the city, and you all kind of up to speed on, hopefully picking who the next person would be, and going from there. So this is the formal announcement, and I didn't want to drone on too much because Matt's probably got a timer going on me anyway. But that's the plan, and I'll work July 1st, and then that'll be it. So
Thank you, Fred. Thank you for coming to us.
Appreciate it.
Yeah, I appreciate that.
All right. Now you can talk.
Okay, Larry.
Well, I don't have a whole lot except to Seems like they had an awful lot of fires along the highway. I'm not sure what's going on out there.
Yeah, I don't know what that's about.
It's like trailers, you know, brake trailer on their brakes.
Oh.
That's what that's from, semis.
I've never seen that.
I have.
Oh, yeah.
I've seen it with trains,
Yeah.
but not
Yeah.
Yeah.
along the highway.
Well, I
Cigarette,
just- I
cigarette
mean-
butts.
Yeah.
It's more, well, I mean, if you can tell it's a trailer when it's on Friday, it's boom, 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 boom. You know, nobody's like throwing that many cigarette butts out their window.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah.
Well, I don't have a whole lot to say. I'm just sorry to see Fred go.
Thanks.
I realize that he doesn't know what to think about the old man in the corner.
I wouldn't trade the old man in the corner for anybody right now, to be honest with you. It's been a
You
pleasure.
just got a nameplate.
That's all I got.
Sarah?
I don't really have anything. Thank you, Fred, for
Appreciate it.
what you've done for our police force and all your years of service.
Thank you.
Appreciate that. So that's all I got.
Michael?
Well, thank you for all your years of service. Sorry to see you go.
Thanks.
Yeah. But, yeah, anyways. Yeah.
We all get there, eventually.
Yeah, what he said.
Yeah, thanks, Brent.
You're welcome.
Thank you, Lions Club. Thank you, Angie, for coming and presenting today. I know that we kind of went through the old back and forth a little bit, but we expected that slightly. So thank you, Fred, again. Reiterate that. We're going to give you a big hoorah on your way out.
Oh.
I'm going to buy a big old bottle of Jack. Celebrate. But
I know what Matt knows.
anyways, well, huh?
Going all out there. Can I have Matt pick up?
He's finally legal.
Well, yeah. His frame of reference is fairly narrow.
I've got nothing else to say now. And we've got an executive session. And so for attorney-client privilege,
Consultation with an attorney on matters that would be deemed privileged in the attorney-client relationship, with a motion to recess into executive session for consultation with an attorney that would be deemed privileged in the attorney-client relationship to include the city attorney, city administrator, and to reconvene in the council chambers in 20 minutes if there is no desire for a 5-minute recess prior to.
can I make it just 30 minutes real quick? Yeah, 30 minutes.
So much.
Motion by Sarah.
Second.
Second by Michael. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Okay.
Thanks for reading that, Brian.
for a motion to adjourn.
Motion.
Motion by Michael, second by Brent. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Okay.